All right, chat. Did you guys see this picture? Did we all see this picture? What a W. Me and Laniel himself. So what else was missed? This is it, chat. There's me. My buddy Metz took a picture of me on the jumbotron at Dickie's Arena. Was there any kind of prep or anything you did before going to the desk? All right, you guys want me? I'll tell you the story about. Let me just tell you the full story about me going on the desk. So I'm waiting to go to Worlds. I planned on going to Worlds on Friday. No, sorry, on Thursday. On Thursday before the event, I was only going for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm planning to go on Friday, and I get a pretty early flight. You know, everyone else who was going with us got a pretty late flight to land in like 11 or 12. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to get there with some time, maybe even hang out with people potentially on that first night. So my flight is going to land at 7. And I live in Tucson, so I'm leaving from Tucson. So as I'm getting ready to leave, right, because it's time to pack, my buddy's going to come pick me up. We're going to go. See Mets in chat, by the way. That was who I was with. That's when they announce that they're going to do 1v1s on RLCS. They say, hey, we're going to do 1v1s for on Friday, like best of ones. Or we didn't know it was best of ones at the time, but they showed all the matchups and they're like, there's going to be 1v1s happening. My bag is already packed. My bag is already packed when I find this out. And I actually find it out because Danger Taco DMs me. He goes, hey, are you going to be on the stream? I was like, what are you talking about? Why would I be on the stream? He's like, they're going to be 1v1 stuff. I was like, what? There's going to be 1v1 stuff. So he showed me the announcement. And then I was like, oh, crazy. No one had ever talked to me, but I was like, you know what? Maybe I should pack a nicer shirt. Maybe I should pack, a nicer shirt and maybe some pants. Because up until then, I had not. There was no reason for me to wear something like what I'm wearing right here in this picture, because you don't need to wear that when you're just watching from the stands. So I thought, you never know. You never know. I'll just put it in the bag. It doesn't matter. If I don't get, invited to do anything, that's what I'd expect anyways, but you got to be ready. So while we're sitting waiting for our flight, it keeps getting delayed. We're supposed to land at 7, which means we're supposed to leave at like 5. So we've been at the airport from like 3. It keeps getting delayed multiple hours, and me and CMETs are just sitting there getting delayed. We're like, it doesn't matter. Like, at the end of the day, if we get there tonight, we could get delayed to the end. Sure, maybe I wanted to see what was going on in Dallas the night before, but now, whatever, I'm just gonna have to go to bed. Not a problem, right? Getting there is fine. So we're sitting there near the like gate or whatever, and in my Twitter DMs, I get a message. From Psionics Ian, who says, "Hey, I think what was it? Let me pull off to the side because I don't want to link it or leak it, but I want to remember exactly what he said to me. But it was pretty clear that what was about to get asked to me. He says, "Yo, I hear you're in Fort Worth for Worlds." I'm like, yeah, that could be true. Did you see our 1v1 show match stuff for tomorrow on the broadcast? That's what he says. That's all he says. Imagine after that, he's just like, oh, cool, because, yeah, I figured you'd like it. All right, see you there. But that is not what happened. I responded. I said, yeah, I'll be there assuming that my flight doesn't get delayed. But as I'm in the process of responding to him, literally the same exact moment, lady comes up on the intercom for our flight. So the flight to Dallas Fort Worth is going to be canceled. And well, actually, they didn't say canceled. They're like, likely delayed until tomorrow. And we're like, oh, okay. They don't use the word cancel because they don't want to have it so that we can easily get our money back. But they tell us that the flight's basically a no-go. Then and there, in the same process of me being like, yeah. So Ian ultimately asked me if I want to be on the desk. I said yes, and then discussed how I'll try my best to get there. And then from then on out, I talked to Johnny about it. But so we're sitting around. Flight gets canceled immediately. Scrambling. What we ended up doing is we were in Tucson at the time. Found a flight at 5 a.m. on the next morning of Friday to get there. And that meant we were going to have to go home, sleep for like 2 hours, and then drive 2 hours to Phoenix, park my car there, get on a flight at 5 a.m., and show up at like 9 a.m. in Dallas, right when the event's going to be starting, pretty much. And we ultimately missed Dig versus the Club, which is the first series in the big arena. But we got there right as it ended, and just in time. So sat all day knowing I was going to do this in the venue, and eventually left during the Space Station series. I wanted to watch the Space Station series, but they wanted me back down there early. So Space Station was crushing anyways. I had a feeling they would probably sweep Endpoint, and they're up like 3-0. And I get the DM from Johnny. He was like, yeah, you should probably come down right now. So I have to walk out, leave the venue, get my like shirt and pants because I didn't want to be wearing them around all the time, and then go around to the back entrance where Shogun and Johnny and then Renessa came out to meet me. I think Renessa, who I hadn't met before, was like was maybe doing some kind of management thing behind the scene. But anyways, they brought me in, gave me my badge, walked me through the players area, which was cool and just very nerve-wracking, and took me back to like where the talent room is, where they all hang out and like get their makeup done and stuff. And I just peak awkwardness, dude. I just don't know what to do in those situations, because it's like all these people that I've seen a million times before on screen, and I don't know how much they know me or whatever, and I don't know what to do. What do I do with my hands while I'm back here? Like, what do people normally do? So I literally just sit around and wait to have my hand held. They had a steamer to like iron out my shirt, which I do once every 6 months. So I'm like very slowly, very poorly ironing out my shirt while I like sit down, because it's like literally on the ground level. It was this tiny little one. So I do all that stuff, and then I sit around, and I sit back down. I go and change, and I take off my hat and stuff, and I sit back down because I don't plan on wearing my hat on the stream. And I'm sitting at the desk, or like one of the tables. There's like tables and chairs back there, and Johnny starts like looking around, like confused, and like walking around, like what's going on. Seems like maybe he's looking for someone. And then he DMs me on Twitter, because that's how we've been talking. He's like, hey man, I don't know, just so you know, the makeup lady's ready for you. And I'm sitting 5 feet from him. 5 feet from him, like he's sitting down in the chair, I'm sitting up on one of these high chairs. I'm like, Johnny, I'm right here. Like I'm ready. So I should have realized that the makeup lady was down there for me. So I guess it was the hat. I guess it was the other clothes. I don't know what it was. We had just met each other. We had just walked together, but I was truly invisible as soon as I changed. But I walked over and got my makeup done or whatever, which is crazy. I think that I was telling the makeup lady, I think that's like the first time I've had makeup done in ever. I don't know. Maybe I have worn makeup for some other reason, but I think that might be a similar, story for other males. I don't know when you guys are wearing makeup, but I don't know if I'd ever had it. But anyways, after that, they take me through like the back to show me up into the like desk area. And so that was just crazy. Walking up there, that's like the VIP section. The desk area is the same place that all the VIPs were and whatnot. And just standing on the desk waiting to get going was like, dude, it was so nerve-wracking. But got to meet everybody who was on the desk with me. And then Gregan was like an absolute hero. I was lucky for Gregan. Johnny took me up. And then after he took me up, he was going to have to cast the 1v1. So he went back down. So he just left me like kind of standing there. So luckily, I like don't know what to do. Don't know who to talk to. So nervous. T-Bates came up to me, which I appreciate, and made me not a loner. So I chatted with T-Bates a little bit. And then when it was time to do the desk, Gregan said, what's up? And I was sitting up there with him, and I needed Gregan bad, man. He could have left me out to dry. He absolutely could have left me out to dry. But there's just tons of little stuff you don't know. Like, oh, sit right here. You got to shift here. All right, move your headset this way. All right, they're going to say this stuff. They're going to... It was a huge thanks to Gregan. He definitely helped me out big time. And then my segment was pretty quick. I made tons of mistakes. The biggest one being that I looked down like at the desk a lot instead of looking up. But I talked about 1v1 for a little bit, and you guys could probably find it if you really want to. So it was a very exciting time. And then I got to keep my badge. I went back and changed after watching the 1v1s, and I started to walk out, and the lady was like, hey, about your badge, I'm going to let you keep it. I think normally they take it back or whatever. But she's like, I'm going to let you keep it as Johnny Boys +1. You can keep it as Johnny Boys +1. So so I got to wear my talent badge, which I have. Let me find it. That was my talent badge. My Johnny Boys +1 badge that I was able to use to get into that like desk area and VIP area and stuff. So you got to mingle with the talent between matches. Yeah, I got to, I mean, it was the end of the day then, so there wasn't a ton of that, but I did get to briefly chat with people and stuff, and also got to just get into that area in the future. And that is how I got my picture with Daniel, because of that badge. And Daniel was up there. He was famous even in the VIP area. There are people who are levels of famous. Like, obviously, there's people who walk outside. They're going to have millions of people in line to talk to them. And then those people are so famous that even when they're in this area, which I feel like is supposed to be not about, like letting people enjoy the event, you know, kind of. Like, hey, let these people be regular people here. Even them are getting, like, hounded. So, like, I saw Daniel was signing stuff in that lounge of people, like, waiting for him. So he was ultra famous. But I said, hey, I got to get a picture with you. So this was another tweet that I made last night, just thinking about it. So I got to meet Daniel's dad. So I had always figured I'd have a chance at meeting Daniel's dad because I knew he went with him to tournaments and stuff. But I didn't know exactly what he looked like. So I'm walking to go to the VIP area after my buddies. We were doing like a car swap thing. They needed to get their stuff and leave early. So everyone in my group had basically left. And so I was going to go see who I could meet up in the VIP area. Because I actually watched most of the games not in the VIP area. It wasn't even a good place to watch because people were kind of almost like mingling and standing, and there wasn't great angles. So down in the crowd, you know, good angles. People were hyped about it. So actually that's where I like to watch most of the games. But anyways, I go up into the VIP area again. Maybe hang out with Hootie. Hootie was my man. He was everyone's man, though. Hootie is the GOAT. But anyways, let me get to the point of the story, which is that I see, as I'm coming up, some guy walks out of the VIP area wearing a player badge and then stops me. And he was like, hey. And like puts his hand out to shake me. He's like, you're Feer, right? I was like, yeah, I'm Feer. He's like, it's so nice to meet you. You probably don't know who I am. And I'm like, you know, it's always super awkward when you meet somebody and they know who you are and you don't know who they are. And you're like, but I actually was pretty sure because I saw you had a player badge and I knew vaguely of what Daniel's dad looked like. But we step off to the side and he's like, I'm Daniel's dad. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so glad to meet you. It was really cool to talk with Daniel's dad for a bit. And it's funny, even Daniel's dad is famous, chat. I don't know if you guys knew, but not just Daniel, but Daniel's dad. So we're standing there and there's people outside, like the VIP area, because all of them kind of hung there in order to try and talk to people. And they're like, he mentions he's Daniel's dad within earshot of a couple people. And they're like, oh, can I get you to sign this? Can I get you to sign this? They're like asking Daniel's dad to like sign his shirt. And Daniel's dad's like, I think his name is Bart, by the way. But anyways, he's like, do you want me to go get Daniel? Like, do you want me to get Daniel himself? And the kid's like, oh, that would be awesome if you could. But ultimately, he didn't. I think Daniel was busy, you know, already doing whatever. But anyways, Daniel's dad keeps getting interrupted while we're talking so that he can sign stuff for people, which was cool. But anyways, one of the things that Daniel's dad said to me, which I tweeted about here, is that he was saying that him and his wife seemed to be kind of like excited to meet me. Like, he seemed really excited to meet me. And not only that, but he was talking about how much his wife enjoyed when my voice was in the space station announcement. So I don't know if you guys remember, but a long time ago when Space Station announced they were picking up Daniel, they used some clips from my stream and my voice in them, which I thought was a big deal for myself. You know, I thought it was really cool to be part of, you know, Daniel joining the scene because I felt like I had been part of it before he turned 15. But hearing that Daniel's parents also you know, it meant a lot to them to hear me, that I don't know. It's weird to have an effect on somebody like that. And it was nice. It was nice talking to Daniel's dad. He took a picture with me and he said he was going to send it to me, but I think he forgot, which is not a problem. But that was one of my great interactions. I met a ton of fans. Not a ton of fans. I shouldn't say that. I met a good amount of people who seemed to watch the Twitch or the YouTube. It was great meeting people. I'm glad that everybody who came up. One of the things that happened is, and maybe this is the case of me not being like the A-listers, maybe, you know, like some people get hounded, you know, every time they go out and they need their conversations to be quick, right? You know, you see somebody who I know, just gonna use Rizzo as an example because he's probably the #1 celebrity. Like if he's out, people are gonna be talking to him. Like there's lines around the stadium are gonna form to talk to him. So you can't chat and hang out with him. You know, it's just not fair to everybody else who wants to talk to him. But with me, that's not the case. With me, I could talk to everybody. We could hang out for like a series pretty much with every person I talked to, and we still would have had tons of time. But it felt like people almost thought they needed to leave quickly, which I don't blame them for, but I could have hung out. If you saw me there, we could have hung out, you know, the whole day. I wish we had a little like segment of the stadium or something that we had all sat at and we could just talk about 1v1 and enjoy the day together. So if you did come up to meet me and we didn't talk long, know that I wish you had stayed longer. But even if you didn't, it's okay. There's another tweet that I made. So I felt like some people had been DMing me through Twitter being like, hey, I want to see you. And then we would go meet up somewhere. And so I thought, you know what? I'll just tweet out that I'll be somewhere. And hopefully everybody and people who have maybe felt awkward enough and don't want to like ask me can just see the tweet and can just be there so that we can hang out. So I tweeted out about this, that I'm going to go hang out over this section. And so I go to the spot that I plan on standing at, which was all the way at the back of the stadium. Not like in the hallway, but like truly all the way outside 106. And I'm standing up against the wall. and just like, it's so awkward. It's so awkward because I'm like, you have to have like some level of ego, right? A little bit to be like, hey, come meet me. Like, what if nobody cares? What if nobody cares and you just stand there? Luckily, I knew that actually Caleb Finnemore, who he changed his name. His name is, I'm trying to think of what his name is. Enchilada. I knew Enchilada wanted to come see me, so at least I had one person who knew to come. But I'm like sitting there, just like people are walking by, and I don't know if anybody cares or what I should do, or staring at my phone. And then Jamaican Coconut, if you know him, he walks up to like right where I'm at, and he starts having fans swarm him. So he has a ton of fans coming to say hi to him, to the point where like his group to say hi to Jamaican Coconut gets so big that I'm now standing basically in the group to meet him. And I'm like, oh gosh. Nobody wants to say hi. And not only that, but I'm now in a line to meet someone else. So luckily I walked away and I went to like a different portion of the arena. And then Caleb came up and John, aka Always, came up, and Palace from the Discord. So I did get to meet some people, which was nice. And it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Just me like standing there for 30 minutes, nobody shows up, and then I'm like, all right, well, didn't want to meet you guys anyways, and just leave.